Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 9-game NBA main slate on Saturday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. If you guys are playing the 2-game NFL slate on tomorrow, make sure to check out my video breaking that one down. We do have $1 million up top. I also make videos, guys, for NBA Top Shot and NFL all day if you are curious. I do upload on Apple Podcasts if you're unable to watch these videos. Link is down below. It's called the DK DFS Show. Premium content often at patreon.com, NFL and an NBA package. Again, more info down below. And the sponsor of this video, guys, is Prize Picks. If you're not familiar with Prize Picks, it's a player prop site where there's a few different ways you can play. You can take over under on fantasy points. You can take over under on for football, passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, receptions, touchdowns. Right now, the NBA board is not up because it's right after the games ended tonight, but NBA board should be up relatively soon, and they have a lot of different sports, basically every single sport you can think of. So how it works is you pick 2 to 5 player props and you can win up to 10x your money. So if you guys want to try it out, you can sign up and use my code DKDFS. That is DKDFS, all one word. You'll get a 100% match up to $100. And finally, I want to thank you guys again for coming and check out the live stream I did with Matt from DG Fantasy. Again, really appreciate Matt for coming on. Hope you guys liked the dual live stream. I had a lot of fun. I think Matt enjoyed it as well. Maybe we're looking to do one next week over on his channel, so I'll tweet that out when we do. But again, let me know if you guys enjoyed that stream. And if you guys do enjoy the YouTube videos, just make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Okay, so before we get into players and the prices, we got to look back in my lineup here from tonight. Dennis Schroeder. Mr. Dennis Schroeder. Mr. Dennis Schroeder ended my night right away. I saw the ownership at lock. I saw he was only 10%, and I was so happy. I'm like, yes, Dennis Schroeder only 10% owned. I love this. I thought he'd be more popular. I was like, oh my god, way lower owned than I thought. Let's go. Gonna play 35 plus minutes like he did last game. Was on pace for 38 minutes if the game did not blow out. Going to be the third highest usage guy in the team. I'm very, very happy about this. 0 of 7 and a blowout. So yeah, my day was basically over right away from that. So, I moved some stuff around. I went to a lower owned Gorgie Jang. I pivoted to a 0.5% owned Jimmy Butler because in a situation where you have a guy bust, if he's not super, super chalky in tournaments, you got to make pivots, right? You have to give yourself at least a chance. You got to pivot off the chalk. So basically pivot off my full game stack of Sacramento and Houston and went to some lower owned pieces here. Jimmy Butler, Jang. Of course, Atlanta trolls us with Gorgie Jang's minutes. But again, I had to take a shot. He was actually higher than I thought, 21%. But I guess people still had the utility spot open there. And then, Jimmy Butler, 0.5% owned. Again, the only reason I went to those two guys is because I had to give myself at least a shot in tournaments, right? I couldn't just stick with the chalk of Houston and Sacramento. I can't cash in tournaments with a guy going for 5 fancy points. So that was my reason for making the pivots there. I told everyone I was sticking with the Golden State guys in Poole and Porter. Well, they just absolutely blew out Chicago. So back-to-back games, the Bulls have gotten just destroyed. Levine did get injured, and he's not going to be available for the game tomorrow. Harrison Barnes is really solid. Christian Wood, he could have had a massive, massive game, guys. He picked up 3 fouls in like 6 minutes and then picked up his 4th. He lost huge minutes because of foul trouble. Still smashed. But, all in all, my day was over right away because of Dennis Schroeder. And again, then I had to make some changes to pivot to some lower owned guys. Like I went to Ja, who that game blew out. All in all, just a forgettable day. I still finished like the above 50th percentile, which was really surprising. But again, there were landmines all over the place on this slate. I was taking a look at some higher stakes stuff. I was taking a look at Justin, not to call him out, but there were some low scores in the high stakes. So like he went to Luca, Schroeder, Ross, PJ, Lopez, Ja, Franz, and Mason Plumlee. Like Robin Lopez was the massive chalk. Now I told everyone and Patreon, I was like, you know what, this guy's a play you play in cash and you were playing for optimal lineup, so I'm gonna take a shot and fade him and hope something weird happens. That that fade for my personal lineup worked out, but it didn't even matter because of Schroeder. Again, PJ Washington was relatively popular. He was about 20% owned, 6 fancy points. Schroeder, again, was about 10% owned, just the absolute worst. What else? What other ownership was there down here? But Troy Brown, we got news. He was starting. He was just god-awful. I was a little bit surprised. Like, I liked these Charlotte guys for tournaments, but I was a little bit surprised how popular LaMelo got, right? I was shocked he was over 40%. Was it Jordan Poole's chalk? And then, yeah, this was the winning lineup. Murray, who had another good game, even a tough matchup, 60 fancy points. Poole, Franz Wagner, Otto, Lopez was in the winning lineup. Fox, Bagley, and Woods. Yeah, once we got the news that Bagley was starting the 5, he looked way, way more appealing. And that's why I think there is some merit at times to leaving some spots open in the later games, because sometimes you get random guys ruled out, or sometimes there are questionable players in the later game. So like if you did leave a spot, a value spot, you could have got a pretty low on Bagley. So again, there's always an edge if there's some questionable guys in the later games, or if you think there's a chance, a few guys don't end up playing. But yeah, guys, that's it for the look back. I hope you guys had a better night than myself. Just forgettable night for me. But hey, the good thing with DFS is I always say there's always tomorrow, right? So swing and a miss on Schroeder for me today. Again, the 0 of 7 shooting and the blowout obviously hurt. But yeah, let's move on to this one. So Portland and Washington at the top for Portland here. So no Dame, no CJ, no Powell, no Nance. We do have Anthony Simons coming back at 7-2. So we'll start with Nurkic at 7-8, who was on pace for like low 30s minutes at last game if the game did not blow out. I think he's still a solid option here. Now, it's going to be him and Anthony Simons kind of run this offense. Anthony Simons himself, 7.2K, is getting to a point where he's no longer like a plug and play, but I mean, he's still been paying off the salary, and he should be playing, 35 to 38 minutes here. So still interested in Simons. I like that he's shooting guard eligible. As far as the secondary place here, Covington, Little, now they're getting to the point where they're priced about right. So no real hot take in either of those guys. McLemore, assuming he continues to start, I still think he's in play for value. The price has come up, so he's a little bit riskier, but still should get around 30 minutes for Ben McLemore, and a guy that, again, does have upside if he can knock down the shots. That's probably it for me on the Portland side. Moving on to Washington. So, no Beal still. Really, DraftKings? Really? You couldn't price him up? He is the best, right? He is the best. No one has ever touched the basketball court that is better than Kyle Kuzma. Almost a triple-double last game, just completely out of normal. I have no idea what's going on. But, seriously, like, without Brad Beal, it's going to be him and Dinwiddie, the highest usage guys. And this is a really, really good matchup. So both those guys are in play. I do prefer Dinwiddie for the discount at 6.8K. Yeah, he had a bad game last game. Not worried about it at all. So I like Dinwiddie. I like Kuzma. Prefer Dinwiddie to Kuzma. But yeah, both are firmly in play here at their respective price points. As far as the bigs go, with like Thomas Bryant here, with Rui here, I don't really feel good about any of the secondary options here. So like, again, Gafford's minutes are down. He kind of split it like a three-headed monster of like him, Montrezl Harrell, and Thomas Bryant. So it's like really, really hard to get to any of these guys. You have, again, Rui's minutes have been limited at 3.5. So like, I can't really go there. There's just not much else here on Washington that I'm interested in. The New York side, so Julius Randle, 8.6K. Really good matchup here. He bounced back last game after that awful game 2 games ago. Again, the minutes are going to be there for him. And this is a good matchup against Atlanta. Atlanta's not been solid, or has not been good defensively this year. So I think Randle makes for a relatively safe play at his price point. Again, no Rose, no Walker still. RJ Barrett's been playing out of his mind recently, but you're also going to pay a premium. I'm not going to say no to him, but I don't know if he continues to shoot this well, right? He's really, really been playing well of late, so I think he's certainly in play, but might be a little bit over-owned. Alec Burks at 5.8K is a little bit cheaper, still playing big minutes. I think I lean Burks over Barrett. I also think a lot more ownership goes to Barrett. Fournier at 5.1K. I mean, you guys know my thoughts on him. He does have upside, but he's got to hit his shots to get value. Robinson at 4.8 has had a couple of good games, but his price is up a bit. Quickly at 4.04, the minutes have been kind of just all over the place. I mean, he's always viable for GPPs, but that's really it on the Knicks side. Moving on to Atlanta. So, Trae Young at 9.9K, we probably get mid-30s minutes from him. Again, the Knicks matchup, not necessarily the best, so more of a tournament play for me. Clint Capella is, I don't think he's going to play in this one. He did not play tonight, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Again, tonight they started Gorgie Jang. We all are expecting Okongwu to start. They started Jang. He only played 15 minutes. Okongwu got some run, and they even played some Collins to the 5. So it was the worst possible scenario if you went to any of these bigs. Just a 3-headed monster. It's just disgusting. John Collins had a bad game last game. He also fouled out to no one's surprise. He's a Triple J-esque of the fact of he does have upside, but this guy's just always in foul trouble. As far as the secondary plays here go for Atlanta, if DeAndre Hunter starts again, I think he's a good value play. Played 30 minutes last game. So, yeah, if Hunter starts, I like him at the flat min price. They've been mixing and matching starting lineup, so we'll see what they do. Like, they brought Herder off the bench tonight. He only played 27 minutes. Gallinari played some pretty big minutes tonight. Played 34. I think he's a fair value play, 3.7K. So definitely some interesting plays here for Atlanta, but also, again, keep an eye on the starting lineup. Pelicans and Nets. So on the Pelican side, Brandon Ingram, 9.2K, I think makes her a pretty good GPP play. He does have upside, but the price feels about right. Jonas Valanciunas should be able to feast against this front court. He's been playing low 30s minutes. I think he's a pretty good play in both formats, in my opinion. If there's no Claxton, it's going to be Day'Ron Sharp. The dust of Blake Griffin and Paul Millsap is the only big standing. So, that's a pretty good spot for Jonas Valanciunas. And then Josh Hart, 7K, is getting to the point where he feels priced about right. He had an off game last game, but I'm kind of just indifferent on him at that price. Not much else I'm really looking to. NAW at 3.6 from playing, around 20 minutes on the bench. Sure, he's viable in a larger field tournament, but let's move on to Brooklyn. So we do have Durant back. Harden and Durant both at 11 and 11-2 respectively. I think make for decent plays. I don't have a super strong lean in which one I prefer. Now, the secondary options, this is where it hurts. It hurts my head. It really, really hurts. If Nick Claxton's questionable, Aldridge is already out. If Nick Claxton can't play and Day'Ron Sharp starts, then I like him for value. But what I will say is you just don't know what's going to happen in the rotation. You just don't know, right? I wish I could tell you, but, I mean, who knows with Steve Nash, right? It's just like picking something random out of a hat. That's how he's figuring out his rotation. So, if Day'Ron Sharp starts and there's no Claxton, I like him for value. I mean, could you try to roll the dice on the dust of either Blake Griffin or Millsap? Sure. Like, even though Millsap is complete dust, he's, like Boogie Cousins, right? He's going to be productive when he's on the court. So, you can take shots on those guys. Like, the other secondary options, I just don't know if I can feel good about anyone. I mean, Bruce Brown had a good game last game. If he starts again, sure. You can maybe look to Kessler Edwards. We do have Patty Mills coming back, too. It's just like, Patty Mills would probably be the secondary option outside of the whoever starts the 5. I probably feel the best about, but man, I just don't really want to mess with this rotation. Philadelphia, Miami. So Joel Embiid, 11.4K. Kind of been struggling a little bit of late. I think it's a fine GBP play. Has not really paid off his salary in the last 5-6 games. Now, Yurt 7 is not the best defender. Like, Miami's known for a good defensive team, but Yurt 7 not the best defender. So it's a pretty solid matchup for Embiid. Tobias Harris just feels priced about right. I do like Maxey again. I liked him tonight. Went for 35 fancy points again. It's just the amount of minutes he's going to play. So I think Maxey makes her a pretty safe play there in the mid-range. Not much else I'm really interested in. Thibault did get injured in 28 minutes. So, maybe more minutes for a guy like Korkmaz at 4.8K. I think he would be, playable in GPP. So, again, we'll see what they do with the starting lineup in Philadelphia. Moving on to Miami, so Jimmy Butler in his first game back, there really wasn't any limitations. He played 33 minutes, so it's a back-to-back. We'll see if he's going to be good to go in this one. I assume he's fine, so if that is the case, I think he's a decent GBP play. The guards in Hero and Lowry feel a little bit overpriced. The secondary guys feel a little bit overpriced. There's not much I'm really looking to. I mean, you're at 7. If you can stay out of foul trouble, we probably see close to 30 minutes, but I don't love targeting centers against Joel Embiid. Yurt 7 is prone to foul trouble, and again, he's going to be going up against Embiid, who's great at drawing fouls. Cleveland at OKC. So I originally had Garland in my lineup tonight, but again, I had to move some things around to go to lower owned pieces like a Jimmy Butler. So yeah, he was a guy I was extremely high on. He went off. I like him again here. I mean, he's just going to play huge minutes as long as the game stays competitive. So I think Garland looks really, really good. As far as the bigs go, and Allen and Mobley, I think both make for solid plays. Both have been a little bit up and down, right? Last 5 games for Allen, 35, 25, 48, 23, and 42 fantasy points. And Mobley, 38, 25, 37, 39, 29. So it's like, okay. I mean, they both have upside, but they've also shown a relatively low floor. Kevin Love, the minutes have not been super high in him, so hard for me to feel confident going to him. Lauri Markkanen at 5'6", should play low to mid 30s minutes. He's a fair secondary play. We did get a Coro back. Rondo missed the game tonight. We'll see if he's going to be available. If he's in, probably going to stay away from the likes of Osman and Lamar Stevens. If he's out, sure, you can consider those two. Still got some decent minutes in the game tonight. On the Thunder side, so Shea went absolutely off last game against the Nets, went for 65 fantasy points, and that was definitely an outlier performance. Again, Cleveland's actually been pretty solid defensively, but with Shea, again, he's going to play big minutes, and he's going to be their highest usage player, so no issue if you want to go there. Josh Giddey at 7'4", with Shea healthy, he kind of takes a backseat a bit, so he doesn't really stand out at this price point. Lou Dort had a good game last game, but And then, it's just always... I always have to sigh after talking to these secondary plays. JRE caused me so much pain 2 slates ago when he had 1 fancy point at halftime. Darius Bazley at 4.5. I mean, does have upside, but also a very low floor. I just don't think I can deal with the secondary options. Chicago and Boston. Okay, so here we go. No Levine in this one. No Caruso, no Green, no Derrick Jones Jr. So without Zach LaVine, this is pretty big, right? Pretty big boost to the other options here for Chicago. So I want to start with Kobe White, who most likely starts in this game and probably pushes for over 30 minutes. I think he makes her a pretty good play at 5.2K. Like him a good amount. Lonzo Ball obviously will still play the point. Kobe will play the point when Lonzo's not out there. But he gets a little bit of a usage bump without Zach LaVine. I think he makes her a pretty safe play. DeMar DeRozan probably going to be your highest usage player without LaVine. I think he's a pretty good option at that price, and even Vucevic at 8.7. So really, the main guys for Chicago look a lot better without Zach LaVine. I have interest in all the main guys here for the Bulls. Now, the secondary options, again, we got the start from Troy Brown Jr., who actually has been a pretty solid point per minute guy. Not tonight. Well, not tonight, guys. 5 fantasy points in 27 minutes for Troy Brown. So we'll see what they do the starting lineup. They can go to him. They can go to McKinney. They have Io. Whoever starts, I'm probably going to feel the best about. But really, my main interest is the top 4 guys in White, in Lonzo, in DeRozan, and in Vucevic. On the Boston side, so Marcus Smart was ruled out tonight. We'll see about his status for tomorrow's game. Tatum and Brown. Again, the game was a blowout. Neither really had great games, but these are going to be the top 2 usage guys on the team, so no issue with either of them. The bigs and Williams and Horford don't really stand out. If Marcus Smart is out, pen and paper, right? Pen and paper, guys. Dennis, Schroeder, going for 50. Just write that down in your notes. Mr. Schroeder, 50 bomb, lock in after what he did to me at low ownership. 0 for 6 and 5 fancy points in 25 minutes. 0.2 fantasy points per minute. Richardson, Pritchard, these guys would be in play too as contrarian value plays, but that is it for Boston. So last 3 games left, and another team that I just can't stand talking about this team. The Clippers, I mean, you got to send him to the G League at this point, right? Back-to-back 80-point games in an NBA season. That is just you can't do that. You can't do that. Marcus Morris 6.7K. It is a really good matchup, and he's going to be one of their highest usage players. I think if this game stays competitive, he pushes for mid-30s minutes, so he's a fair play at his price. Reggie Jackson just, I mean, he can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. He has just been god awful. 2 of 11, 5 of 15. He's shooting like 20% from the field over the last month. Just absolutely horrific. But I do think if the game stays competitive, he plays, around 30 minutes. If he's going to continue to shoot the ball a good amount, I think he's still in play for GPPs. Bledsoe was basically a DNP last game. He played 9 minutes. Amir Coffey, after taking over the team 2 games ago, came back down to earth. But I've liked what I've been seeing recently from him. He's been way, way more aggressive on the offensive end. So I'm intrigued by him if he continues to start. Like, we've seen a different Amir Coffey recently. I think he's starting to gain confidence. So I actually do have some interest in him. Terrence Mann at 4.8. I mean, around 30 minutes. It's kind of just a fine play. Zubac, if he can stay out of foul trouble, should play mid-20s minutes. Batum, sure, he's playable. This team, I just really don't like talking about. On the Spurs side, so, I mean, DeJounte Murray's been phenomenal. He's got to be an all-star, right? I mean, he has to be. He has been playing out of his mind. Last 5 games, 53, 54, 41 in a blowout, 73 and 60 fantasy points for DeJounte Murray. He's now priced at 10. And he smashed tonight, and Cleveland's been good defensively. He just went off again. So, the price is up on him, but I have no issue if you want to continue to ride this hot streak with DeJounte Murray right now. He is just on another level. Derek White was out tonight, and we'll see about the stats for him tomorrow. If he's out, you can take some shots in these secondary plays for tournaments, but there's nothing I feel good about. And Pirtle at 6.6, it just feels priced about right. So nothing really else on the Spurs side. Lakers and Nuggets. So LeBron James, 11-9. I mean, it's pricey, but he's playing huge minutes and just doing everything for this team. I just realized this, though. I mean, they only have him listed as a center. Excuse me? Excuse me. I know he's been playing some small ball 5. He's not a center. A center for LeBron James? Are we serious, Draftkings? I mean, are we? That is just... And this guy... Oof. I mean, you want to talk about bad? My goodness, have Westbrook ever been just awful over the last couple weeks. He has just been so bad. 9.6K. I don't think I can stomach that on this slate. Malik Monk's been their second best player. And he's been playing, 3 of the last 4 games, 40 bombs from Malik Monk. So I don't know if he continues to play this well, but he is playable. Again, he's been their second best player. And the secondary options here for the Lakers, okay. I want to mention Dwight Howard. He is 3.3K and questionable. Do we think they start LeBron James on Nikola Jokic? I don't think so. I think one of the big starts, if Dwight is healthy, I think he's starting. If he's not healthy, I'm guessing they go to DeAndre Jordan. Like, I don't think they start LeBron on Jokic, right? And they have no other bigs. AD's out. It's Dwight and it's DeAndre Jordan. Unless they want to try to start Stanley Johnson at the 5. I think it's probably one of the big starting. So keep an eye on the starting lineup. But if one of Dwight Howard or DeAndre Jordan start, I really like them for value. I mean, sure, the likes of Bradley, Reeves, Trevor Ariza, you can take shots on, but nothing really stands out there. On the Denver side, so Nikola Jokic is pricey. He's 12.6, but if you have the salary for him, I have no issue. He has a pretty high floor, high ceiling. It's a good matchup here. The rest of Denver, I think Will Barton's probably my next favorite play at 5.9K. Campazzo went for 50 last game, but that was definitely an outlier performance, so kind of feels like a chase, but also his price is not super high, so he's playable. I'd probably rather go to Monte Morris. If Campazzo's going to get ownership, I think I'd rather roll the dice on Monte Morris. But I think more often than not plays around 30 minutes. But yeah, that's it for Denver. Final game here, Magic and the Mavs. So Cole Anthony, I was actually a little bit surprised how low owned he was, but sure enough, he just didn't do anything. 2 of 8 shooting. Again, just didn't do much. Only played 29 minutes, so a little bit worrisome with his performance tonight. Carter Jr., Bamba, their status is up in the air. If they both can't go, then yeah, you can consider Robin Lopez, but his minutes were slashed. They finally, after I tilted about it, they actually went to Mo Wagner, right? I was like, why are we not going to Mo Wagner? This team has nothing to play for. Why are we playing the dust of Robin Lopez? And they actually did it. They finally went to Mo Wagner, who smashed. 28 minutes, went absolutely off. Like, why have we not been doing this all year, right? Give him some minutes. So, we'll just keep an eye on the starting lineup. But if Bamba and Carter Jr. are both out, then I just mentioned Lopez and Wagner. Maybe they end up starting Mo Wagner tomorrow. We'll see. Terrence Ross, well, his role is not going to change much, right? He's still going to come off the bench and shoot the ball a ton, so he's viable for GPPs. Franz Wagner had a really good game at 5.9K. Back-to-back 40 fantasy point games. I think he's totally in play. Okeke started the game, but the minutes weren't great on him. Only played 22. Jalen Suggs had a nice game off the bench. He played 22 minutes. But yeah, this team's getting healthier, and especially if one or both these bigs come back, there's just not much that stands out to me. And finally, the Dallas Mavericks. So 11.1K for Luka. I think it makes for a decent option. The Magic are not a good defensive team. He had a really good game tonight, and the game blew out. So, yeah, I also mentioned Luka. Porzingis at 9K. I believe he is still going to be out. We'll obviously monitor that news. If he is out, then, Maxi Kleber most likely starts, but he feels priced about right. Brunson is a little bit overpriced for me. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is fine at 5K. Should play, close to that 30-minute mark. Is reliant on the scoring, though. I'll mention Dwight Powell again. This is a bigger front court for the Magic, so I think we could see low 20s minutes from Powell, which I think makes him a fair value play. I mentioned Powell as a viable pivot off of the chalk in Robin Lopez tonight. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the video today. So if you haven't enjoyed the content, just make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Really, really appreciate that, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night. I hope you guys avoided Dennis Schroeder, and I will see you guys back here in the next video.